Hello, everybody. Welcome to this course on internet technologies. I'm Vardan, and we will be studying about the internet, how it works, uh, how it has evolved, and the way it has incorporated different technologies. So now the question, what is the internet? Internet is a network formed by interconnection of many networks. You'll find it in a lot of books. It says it's a network of networks. That brings me to another question. What is a computer network? A computer network is a group of connected computers and devices that share resources and information using a common set of rules or protocols. Uh, Another point that no single person owns the internet, but anyone who makes a connection to it is a part of it. So, me recording this video and uploading it to the YouTube, so I'm a part of the internet. You're watching it, you're also a part of the internet. And internet has no central administration. Now, coming on to evolution of the internet. So it all started in 1950s when the US Defense Organization ARPA or Advanced Research Project Agency was established, and they started to network a number of computers, and eventually in 1970 ARPANET was created. In 1971, protocols of Telnet and FTP were introduced. So Telnet is a way to remote login into a computer, and FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. And in 1971, also universities were added to the network uh, as they were a significant part of the defense research. That is why they were added to it. And in 1972, the first electronic mail was sent. In 1973, the ARPANET reached beyond the borders of United States. Uh, they reached England and Norway. In 1974, the TCP emerged. So one interesting point to note that TCP protocol that we use till date was created 50 years ago. Around 50 years ago, TCP was created, and it has had its fair share of refinements and everything, but yeah, it's essentially 50 years old. In 1983, the TCP/IP suite, the TCP/IP family, was standardized, and the internet as we know it started to take shape. So, continuing with the evolution of the internet, in 1986, NSF Net, that was a system of regional networks connected over a backbone network, it was created. So, the main goal of this entire project was to connect different regional networks with each other, essentially forming a strong backbone. Uh, in 1991, Archie and Gopher were released. So Archie was an FTP search engine. It was quite similar to the World Wide Web, but it was there was no visual interface for it. So uh, it used to search for resources, and the addresses for these resources were found in big FTP catalogs. Similarly, Gopher was a menu-based system for doing the same. It could navigate and help retrieve documents on the internet. In 1993, World Wide Web was launched. So, World Wide Web, as we know, was created by Tim Berners-Lee. And one more point: the internet and World Wide Web are not the same thing. Internet is a global network of computers connected to each other, uh, while World Wide Web is a service on the internet that uses web browsers to access web pages. Uh, Essentially, the internet is the physical and logical network. All of the cables, routers, servers, and protocols like the TCP and IP that connect computers globally. While the World Wide Web is a service that uses this infrastructure to deliver web pages using HTTP and HTTPS protocols. The growth of the internet has been exponential. In 1989, there were about 10 million hosts. on the internet by 2001, they became 100 million. And as of now, we have over 5.5 billion internet users. That is almost 70% of the world population. That is just a fascinating figure. So the networks that existed during the 60s and the 70s faced a common challenge. They were proprietary in nature and they only worked with the computers of same type. So the computers on a given network were typically from the same vendor and they followed that vendor's custom protocols. Uh, so this made interoperability with other machines from other vendors nearly impossible. So, for instance, a network could consist entirely of IBM computers using IBM's proprietary networking protocol, and similarly, Digital Equipment Corporation machines, they could be using their own networking protocol. So, there was essentially a challenge of compatibility. So, to build systems which are compatible with other systems, standards are required. So, RFCs or requests for comments are official documents describing the internet protocols, procedures, and policies. So, for instance, let's say I have a new idea or a protocol that I believe could improve how the internet works. But how do I turn this idea into something standardized and accepted globally? That is where RFCs come in. So that brings us to another question. If nobody owns the internet, who makes and implements these RFCs? So there are volunteer organizations which help with the standardization process and they coordinate the global internet development. So we have the Internet Architecture Board, the Internet Engineering Task Force, and the Internet Engineering Steering Group. Now, how are these RFCs actually made? So coming back to the example of me wanting to standardize a protocol, I can actually approach these organizations, especially the IETF, with my proposed protocol. If they find it promising, they can help me form a working group around my idea. Uh, so my working group would then draft an idea and it would be placed in the internet draft directory for 6 months. There it would be available for anyone on the internet. It would be available for public review and feedback. After that, uh, it might get rejected or might get approved and become an RFC. Now, let us understand the publication process of an RFC. So, we start with an internet draft, and after community feedback, it may become an informational RFC, something like a tutorial or explanation, uh, or it can become an experimental RFC that is based on test results or some studies or some statistical understanding, or it can begin the standardization path. So, along the standardization path, first a proposed standard is created, then a draft standard is created, and finally a full internet standard is created. And all RFCs don't become an internet standard. Uh, and older documents may become historic. That means they no longer are relevant, but they are preserved for their legacy value and reference in future. And that brings me to the end of our first lesson on internet technologies. In next lesson, we'll be studying about how data flows over the internet. We'll be studying about circuit switching, packet switching. Thank you for learning with me today, and see you next time.